Australian Supercross track builders call out the riders for their small whoops and the fact they need to learn them. More GP riders are rumored to be coming to the United States. We'll get into that. And another team is closing an MXGP, and a lot more to come in this video. With me today is David Hogan. How are you doing, man? Who are you? What do you do?
I'm good, Trevor. I'm good, mate. How are you? It's nice to be with you tonight. And yeah, look, I'm an Australian physio, but I dabble in this moto media side of things and try to keep up with the activities going on in sport all over the world.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like I said before this, you guys didn't hear that, but I'm using a different setup for recording, so it's going to take a while for me to get used to all this, messing around all these buttons. So there's some mistakes. Don't worry about it. We're running the redneck operation here. Now, I wanted to start out with Australian Supercross because I didn't talk about it at all. I tried to watch it, but it already happened, and I tried to pay for some. I don't even know what the streaming service was, but I couldn't get it, so I watched some highlights video on socials that was all. So I don't really know what happened. I know there's a lot of crazy activity going on. Take us through Australian Supercross. What happened in those races, man?
Yeah, we had round 1 and 2 as a double header, a Saturday and a Sunday afternoon event last weekend in Redcliffe, which is in Queensland, up near Brisbane, for anybody that sort of knows geography of Australia. But we had a pretty interesting couple of rounds there. We had basically a split two moto format on both nights. So the guys had some shorter racing, but they obviously were pretty intense and had to work through the pack. Not completely different for the 450 side of things, but the results were very much turned up on their head from one night to the next, which was awesome because the SX2 class basically flipped all the results around. So even the guys who got terrible results on the first night did really well on the second night. So the series is super tight. I think the top 8 is separated by like 6 points in the championship. So it's extremely tight, but you touched on some of the drama that happened. For the Australian side of things, the Team Honda and CDR Yamaha are the two big players down here. And for the Honda guys, they've basically brought in the big dogs. They've got Dean Wilson, they've got Joe Savacci in the SX1 class, and they've got Cole Thompson and Shane McElrath have joined us for the SX2 on top of their 3 other Australian riders in SX2. So they've got a massive team this year. And at one point, they managed to have all 3 of them laying in one corner. So
Yeah, I saw that. How did that even happen? Who started that?
I don't think anyone really started it. It just sort of, they all culminated into the one point of the corner. So basically, Shane McElrath was trying to make a block pass on Brody Conley, and somehow at the same point, Cole Thompson was trying to make a block pass on Shane McElrath. So they all basically ended up at the exit of the corner at the one point, and basically all fell on top of each other. It was a calamity of errors.
Yeah. I just saw the clip on Instagram and I was like, wow, one guy tried to do an aggressive pass and he got taken out by another guy doing a way more aggressive pass. So yeah, the Australian Supercross was wild, man. I wish I could have watched it live. I normally don't watch it. I don't really care about Australian Supercross. I don't know. I never really have. I try to focus on just the FIM and the AMA crap. But after seeing all this stuff the past week, holy crap, it's wild over there. So like I said off the top of the show, the whoop drama. Did you hear about this? The track builder calling out. Yeah, I just saw this on X the other day, and I was like, oh, I'm going to have to look into this. So, yeah, I'll play the clip real quick. Apparently, he's one of the track builders, and he called out the riders. I guess on the second night, they had to cut down the whoops, and I remember watching the highlights on that. They were going wild in the whoops. They couldn't hold on to the bike. But, yeah, he called them out. He said they had to cut them down really small for the second day. And they will not be doing that again. He said they're going to be doing big full-size whoops, and if the riders can't handle it, they got to learn it. So I'll put that clip on screen right now. Cut me some slack here, guys. All right. Hopefully you can hear it too, David. I don't know how that works, but here it is.
After tonight's racing at Redcliffe, we did have some pretty awesome racing, but one thing that we do need to discuss is whoops. And they were brought down to a much more rider-friendly size, I guess, than what we saw. Just note, moving forwards, this won't be the standard. We are going to bring back the big whoops. All right, Melbourne, we need to have big whoops. We can't have small whoops like this. So please go home, get on some whoops, learn the craft of getting across them. I know this video is going to go down like a lead balloon, but you guys need to step up. The woods are coming back.
I don't know if you could hear that, David. Could you?
Yeah, I could hear that. It all worked perfectly. So don't sell yourself short. It's working as smooth as a silk right now.
Yeah. So what do you think of that, man? When I heard that, I was like, wow, he's really calling him out there.
Well, funnily enough, I don't know if you realize, but that's a guy called Denny Ham. Now he's an ex Australian pro. I can't remember if he won the top class for us, but he definitely won lower grades on his way up there. Factory rider and stuff, but he's also the one of the commentary team on the night and also involved in the track build. So he's in there in multiple
so he's
levels.
heavily involved. Yeah, I didn't know that. I just saw that he was connected to the track building crew, and I was like, perfect. I'd love to hear what he has to say. But yeah, that's awesome to hear.
Yeah, no, he's got a good background, and he would be able to hit those whoops before they cut him down too. So he knows what he's talking about on that side of things. So I'm not going to cut Denny Ham down at all. He can definitely do that. But yes, the night one, the only person that was skimming the whoops was Dean Wilson, and he had a massive advantage over the field because of it. And then in night two, they actually knocked him down so much so that the jump line was basically the fastest way through. So that made them null and void. But we also had a bit of a situation where the track leading up to that point, the corner into the whoops was a bit dodgy. The dirt we had seemed to have so many pebbles through it, so it was a bit skatey to get grip. So the whole scenario of that whoop section and the corner before didn't lead it to be a super easy section in any stretch of the word. So
now, if I'm not mistaken, was it Joey Savacci who tried to blitz the whoops and got shot off the side? Was that him?
That was him. At one point in the night, he was definitely off the side of the track. Yes.
There was so many guys off the track in that quick highlight thing I saw. Who else was? I think Dean Wilson pushed somebody off track on the second night. Well, who did he push off? I can't remember. I just saw some random highlights.
Well, Dino got pushed off himself at one point by Joe Savacci because on the second night, that first moto, Luke Cloud actually led for a good half to 3/4 of it. Our Aussie guy on the Empire Kawasaki. But then he got caught, and Dino actually made a gap for him. But Dino actually fell off in that corner I was just talking about before the whoops, and then Joey and Luke got back by him. And then in the scramble for the last lap, basically to get to the podium to the finish line first, somehow they managed to all bump into each other in this little switchback section. The three of them were in the corner at one point, and they all had to go left into a rhythm section. And somehow Joey just pushed Dino off the track, and Luke managed to cut underneath both of them and get past them both and go on and take the win. So it was a hectic night of racing, really.
Yeah. Luke Clout, though, I saw one clip of him. He tried early in the race. He tried to send a quad off the hole shot marker. You know how I don't know. I think it was the first turn. They had the hole shot marker, and people were doing a step on, step off deal. And Luke Clout tried to quad it. He cased it the first time, but then a couple laps later, he was doing the quad consistently. That was really cool to see. Nobody else was doing that, so that was pretty wild.
No, he had that going for a fair while in that first main. The line dropped away towards the end. But the other thing that was cool on the second night was that in the heat races that you probably wouldn't have seen many highlights from, but Joey was actually able to do. They had like a step on, step off into some bowl corners on either side of it, and Joey was actually getting it so that he could rail the first berm and jump over the whole section, not step on, step off. So there was some little bits. I like a track when there's some things that guys can do to separate themselves, and it turned out that there was some of those things in it. Obviously, night one was the whoops for Dino. Those two lines that we've just mentioned there, and night two were good. But the track just did sort of blow away, and the end of the night for those second motos, by the time both classes came around, the lines weren't there, and it was just sort of survival to get around the track.
So is Australian Supercross always like this? Like, is it always that entertaining? I don't ever remember seeing stuff like this from a race.
Well, we usually, because our tracks aren't necessarily as big as yours, and maybe not as well built, and potentially the dirt isn't as grippy. We have a very dry, slick dirt here in Australia, and so everyone sort of concertina's up because you can't get big separation, right? So the track's a little bit simpler usually. You don't have as much traction, so you can't push it, and the US guys, when they come over, they can't gap them because they're not comfortable on it. So we do tend to get a closer result, and the Aussie guys always step up when there's a US guy in the field. It always makes them go a bit harder. So, they work even harder to get to the front to try and show that they're capable, and they think that they're all going to get rides in the US if they beat that US import. So it does tend to lead to good racing.
Yeah. All right, so there's not much more I had to talk about the Australian Supercross, just a drama, and I wanted to hear from your side what actually was. I couldn't see the whole thing. What website do you watch it on? Is there a
Well,
streaming site? Because I know there's some Australian channels or something, but I couldn't find where it was.
yeah, so the best way, so apparently this year, and I'm not sure how well this is going to work for you guys, but this year for the Australian side of things, we have what's called KO Freebies, which is just essentially a streaming service, but it's a free version of it that they're running the coverage for the Australian viewers on, which is great. But apparently it's on MAV TV for the US and
Oh,
Canadian
is it?
viewers.
Is it
So
working?
well, that's what I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not in America, so you'd have to tell me that. So check that out for next round. But MAV TV
Yeah.
is meant to have it on there for you guys.
Yeah, the last time we had MAV TV, it didn't work out so great. So I'll have to look into
Yeah,
that.
I know all about that with the Pro Motocross a couple of years ago. It wasn't fantastic, but
Yeah, that
hopefully
was
this is
horrible.
working.
Yeah. All right, so I want to move on to Kai de Wolf. A whole bunch has been happening to this guy after winning a world championship. He's just been making headlines, man. Kai de Wolf, he is riding the 450, doing some off-season races, and doing an incredible job at it. He's just been dominant. He even beat Hurlings in what was the name of that race? I can't remember. It was some sand track over in the Netherlands.
Weird sand track that they only use for this
Lemur
sort of
or
small.
something like
Yes,
that.
that's the one. Yeah,
Yeah. But either way, 250 world champ, doing incredible, battling with the likes of Hurlings. That's awesome to see. And then he's been also testing some Supercross over there and intends on coming to America and testing some Supercross. We're not quite sure if he's going to stay here. I guess his plan is just test it out, see if he likes it. And he might stay, he might not. But 2026, it sounds more likely he would come to America. Either way, it's on the table. What is this? I'll show you a clip of him on the 450. Yeah, you get the point. He's super tall on the 450, so it really fits him. Then we also have the clip of him on Supercross. This is a little bit of a redneck one. I got another clip of you or of him on this for you. Yeah, this is some. Not the most proper Supercross track, but I think I have one more here. Yeah, this is a more proper one. Oh, don't want to play that. I don't know what that is. Copyright, that's what that is. But yeah, this is a more proper Supercross track, and he looks like he's getting comfortable super quickly, so this is awesome to see. What are your thoughts on Kai de Wolf?
Yeah, look, the style of Kai on that 450, those couple of clips you showed, he's a mean dude on a motorbike. He just looks like he's meant to be riding. But yeah, look, the Supercross side of things, he already looks comfy. I don't know about you, but that looks scary considering that's probably only the first couple of days on track.
Yeah, I can't remember what rider commented. Some rider commented on that. Maybe it was it might have been Joey Savacci. He was like, if that's what he looks like after a couple days, I'm scared to see what he looks like in a couple weeks or something like that. I was like, man, if Joey's saying that, I don't know, man. He looks good. It's super impressive.
Does. Yeah, he definitely does. It's so good to see that from him this early. And I did hear that like it's only a couple of weeks he's meant to be coming and trying it out in the US, which I think is sort of next week or something thereabouts that he's meant to turn up. So it will be keen to see some videos from him on those US test tracks, and then obviously hear the comparison to the other guys on the team that are riding at the same time. But I dare say he's going to be just behind him, not far, if not the same, and it's only up from here. So you kind of expect it. You'd think he'd do something similar to what Prado did, because Prado did this 2 years ago, basically the same thing, came out and tested it, and then came the beginning of this year and did a couple of rounds. You'd think that's what he's angling towards.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. I heard that if he likes it, he's going to stay. I heard that's on the table. But the most likely scenario is he's going to go here, test it, and then come back, take a couple weeks off, get back to training, and defend his MX2 World Championship next year, and then go from there. It's most likely that 2026 he would actually come over, but it's on the table that he might stay. I'm not sure how true that is, but that's what I heard. So
you'd have to think it'd go fantastic for him to stay, but it's possible. And also there'd have to be a fair money chat about that, I would assume, because you would think that he's not just staying around. Like, he's going to get paid pretty well to go back and defend or even ride MXGP if that would, was on the card sort of thing. So, but surely if he looks this good on a US track, how many other teams you reckon, not just from that KTM Austrian group, how many other teams you reckon are giving him a call and saying, hey, you want to ride a bike for us next year? Like, it's got to be on the cards.
Yeah, for sure. Do you think it's the best option for him? I find this hard. I love MXGP, but it really irritates me when all the top talent just gets ruined because they come to America. Like, that gets old after a while. I like to see all these guys stay over there. You want to have those like generational talents in the World Championship, like Hurlings, Cairoli. You don't want them to keep coming over here. I mean, Vial, he was incredible, and now, I mean, he's doing halfway decent here. He won the Supercross title, but motocross hasn't been the same. So I don't want to see Kyle Wolf come over here, but if he does, I'm not going to complain because I'd like to chat with him again. I haven't talked to him since Motocross of Nations in 2022, so it's been a while. But do you have the same kind of thoughts I do on that, or you don't care either way?
Well, look, I just want to see that the best guys compete in sort of at once. It's always difficult when they're sort of separated that little bit by that European and US scene, but I get it. But at the same time, if you think about it, right, like if the Wolf does come over, if the Coonans do come over, Vial's already here, Prado's coming, supposedly happening. Depends on how far you want to read into all that stuff as to what you're allowed to say at this point. But if all those guys come out, and then you think Hurlings is probably going to retire in a year to two, guys are similar, who's going to actually be left that is a top name that's going to take over that mantle and make that series worth being a part of? Or is this just going to be this huge gap? Like, you're taking a massive chunk of talent out of there. So you do kind of think maybe some of these guys should stay because there's a big opportunity for them to be the guy for 5 to 10 years.
That's why it was surprising for Prado to me. I'm like, I think Prado's got it by the balls, for a lack of better words. I mean, he's just been killing it since he started. I was like, are you really going to throw that away to risk it and come here? But I mean, it's not a bad option. He's a great rider. So, yeah, there's not much more I want to say on this. Is there anything else you want to talk about? Or, you said something about Prado. What did you say? Prado not going to look too far into it. You caught me off guard there. About him coming here? Was it Prado?
Well, it's all of this is sort of, it's coming. The press releases and stuff, supposedly.
Oh, yeah.
Not being out yet. That's all I was getting at there. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I was going to bring it up at some point in this. For those of you who don't know, the reason they haven't had a press release yet on that, from what I heard, was all of his contracts have to go up, and he's got a wide variety of contracts. He's got Red Bull, Arrow, Thor, CD Boots, right? He's got all these different companies, gas. The contracts have to end. So I believe it's the end of November we're going to get a press release. I think he's signing with Fox Gear and Monster and all that crap. But I think we're supposed to see a press release on that at the end of November. I didn't get an exact date, but just so you know, throw that out there.
Exactly, yeah.
Before we move on, this video is sponsored by Blood Lubricants. Blood is a premium off-road oil and lubricant company. They have everything from regular engine oil to chain lube. They even have a wash and wax bloodbath. They've got a wide variety of products. It's all high-quality stuff made here in the USA. Don't take my word for it with their quality. It is also Chris Kiefer tested and approved. So today, head to bloodlubricants.com and use our code TMN25 today to save 25% off site-wide. That's everything. So yeah, bloodlubricants.com, TMN25, 25% off site-wide. Speaking of GP riders coming to America, I wanted to bring this up. I got some info. I didn't even know about this until a couple of days ago, but I confirmed it. So like we were saying, Prado's coming to America. Dave Wolf is looking at it, but we have 2 more that are potentially going to be coming to the United States either this year or next year. The first one being the Factory Triumph MX2 rider, Mikkel Horup. I didn't know about this till a couple of days ago. My buddy, also a writer for the Motocross Network, Jordan Barber, he told me about this, and I reached out to Horup and got confirmation. So the rumor was that Horup would be coming to America for 2025 so that he can have another year of 250s under his belt, and then in 2026 go up to the 450 for Triumph and MXGP. I'm not sure the merit to that, but I reached out to Horup, and he said, I asked him if there was any merit to this, and all he told me was currently testing in the United States now. Nothing else. He didn't tell me anything else. Testing with. I don't know what's going on. All I know is he is in the United States right now. So it's very possible that he's here for 2025. How do you feel about that?
Well, one, don't you just love the cryptic messages that we get to work with when we talk to these, top guys? They
Well,
all
I like
want to
when they
just
give
leave
me
it.
at least that, because normally I'll ask them and it's either no answer or they'll text me afterwards and be like, "Oh, I just signed with them." Well, thanks for telling me
Yeah,
now. But
yeah, the
yeah, it's
press
nice that
release
they
has already
actually
hit your
respond.
inbox.
I like
Yeah,
the cryptic
exactly.
messages.
Yeah, look, it's something to work with, but they could be a bit more straightforward. But no, look, if he is coming over, it sort of fits with that plan. If it's all with Triumph, it does fit with the fact that that 450 isn't ready for competition side of things. They obviously
Yeah.
announced it with that RC model at Motocross of Nations, but it's not ready to be racing on and the stuff for the team yet. So it does fit with that. I'm curious how good of a Supercross skills he's got, because I don't think I've heard too much about that from him. I haven't really followed his career sort of thing, but he definitely has skills. He's been on the podium this year. So, if he does do the outdoor, if he can get through Supercross and get to the outdoors, that could be a decent threat there for the 250 side of things. So be interesting to see that happen.
Yeah, I think it'd be smart for him to do that because he's victim to that age rule in MXGP. Like he's just kind of building himself up to where he can be a top competitor in MX2 and he's going to age out. Like that really sucks. So coming to America for a year, that might benefit him. Get some Supercross under his belt and obviously some motocross with a lot of top guys over here. So I think it'd be good for him. The Triumph thing, the 450 not being ready, it really confuses me how they don't have a factory bike. But did you see FF Racing Team? Did you hear about that? I think it's called FF Racing Team. Alvin Osland is on it. They have a Triumph 450 for next year, but they don't have a
Okay.
factory team.
Well, no, I haven't heard about that. That's really interesting because how have they
Yeah.
got enough bikes and parts to put a team and run it out there, but Triumph themselves don't? That's
Yeah.
bizarre.
I was talking about this with Jordan, and as soon as it came out, we're both like, what is happening right now? So they don't have it ready for 450s in the factory teams, but they got FF Racing. I got to find it now. It's going to really tick me off.
It
I
is
know I
bizarre,
saw it.
but like you think about the fact that they've announced that they've got a 450 with that RC edition. Like they surely have a couple hundred of those things ready to go out if they're announcing it. Why don't they have at least the factory team on a 450 next year? Or are they going to make some last minute play on that? Who knows?
Yeah, I have no idea. I really got to find this right now. I got to show it at least. So you don't think I'm crazy. All right. Where is it? Oh, I think I might have found some. I think I might have found the picture. I only saw it in a story. So I was like, wait, did they like erase this from history now? Like, does this not exist? All
That
right.
is
Come on,
possible
load.
with those Instagram stories. They always sneaky stuff out.
Yeah, I try to screenshot it every single time it comes out. Every time something comes out, I'm like, this is going to be gone in the second. I
Gonna
got to
use that
screenshot it.
later. Yep.
Come on, man. I think my internet is going to crap or something here. All right, well, I'll move on to the second rider while that loads up. The second one that's rumored to come over to the United States is Andrea Bonacorsi. Now, this one surprised me as well. Rookie year in MX2 and MXGP because he kind of did half and half this year. And he didn't do half bad in both, but I guess his Yamaha deal is coming to an end. And rumor has it, 2025, he is going to be signing with Factory Fantic on the 450, from what I heard, which is odd considering he's a really young kid. But I mean, he's big, so it might work out for him. But then the plan for 2026 is to come over here. There's no rumors yet of what team that'll be, but the rumor is he will be coming in 2026. So another one. How do you feel about Andrea Bonacorsi? Only a year under his belt, switching to 450 full time and possibly coming here.
Look, that one doesn't make as much sense as the rest, really. Like, the age, the experience level, the lesser results to come and join where everybody else is already moving to. Like we're saying, like all of these guys are coming over here. He's probably in that pack with them. He's not at the front of it. So it's not like he's coming over to try and make more money from the better results. He's going to sort of do similar or worse. So it doesn't sound as smart, that one, to me.
I wasn't sure if you could hear me with my face off the screen. I don't know if you did or not.
There was nothing happening there. I thought I'd lost you.
No, I just took my face off. I thought you could still hear my audio, but you couldn't. But I did find the picture of Alvin Osland's bike, the factory Triumph. So I had to find this just to prove to you guys I'm not insane. There it is. Alvin Osland on FF Racing Triumph with Dan Carlson. I don't even know who that is, to be honest. So that's pretty wild to me that these two guys get a Triumph 450 before the factory team.
Well,
So,
yeah, that's bizarre. And have they just gone and raided like a couple of local dealer to buy the couple that have been delivered or something? Like, who knows? But yeah, it is weird that the Triumph factory doesn't have a team bike with that underneath the tent. So that's odd.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on in that whole story. I'm gonna have to talk with Alvin. I've talked to him a few times, so I'm gonna have to drag him on here and say, "How'd you steal the bikes from the factory?" I want to know.
He just wheeled it out the back door. Yeah.
Yeah. We're the first factory or Triumph team, guys. Well, how'd you get it? Well, you got to do some things, you know. All right. So the next story of the day I want to talk about is actually a little old now, but I took a couple weeks off because I had a lot to deal with behind the scenes. So I just wanted to talk about it. I mean, we knew about this beforehand. If I can pull it on screen right now. All right. There we go. Finally. Guillaume Ferez heading back to MX2 on Triumph. We were just talking about Triumph. So
a lot of Triumph news today.
Yeah. So how do you feel about that, man? I mean, I was pumped to hear it when I heard the rumor about a month and a half ago, and just to see it actually come to fruition. It's awesome to see. I think he'll do fantastic.
Yeah, you would think he's going to do well, but you're kind of disappointed that the American side of things for him ended with a bike malfunction that broke his femur, partway through Supercross this year. Like, not how you'd want it to go, considering how he broke out with the Star ride that he had the year before. But yeah, look, great that he's landed on something, and obviously that level of bike and program. Yeah, awesome. He should do really well next year in MX2.
Yeah, the United States thing really sucked for him. I mean, they dragged him out of what was he working at, a bodega?
Grocery shop or something? Packing groceries, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, they just rip him out in the first year he was here. I mean, he was doing incredible. I don't remember what his results were. Do you remember?
I think he got a 6 in a moto or something.
Yeah.
He got a 6, and then he had a few top 10s. So, just either the Star bike is super good, which it is, or he's really good as well. So yeah, the fact that he was able to get that deal with Rockstar Husky, but then I think it was 2 Supercrosses he got before the injury. So it wasn't a great run there. I think he's done maybe 8 races in the US and back to Europe.
Yeah, a lot of bad luck for him. But yeah, the first year, what was it? I got it up on screen here now, I think. There we go. First race here was 2022, August 20th, Budds Creek, 9th place. That's pretty incredible for your first time on this bike in America, just dragging you out of a grocery shop. You're just bagging groceries. And then this year, he didn't do any of them, obviously, because he's been hurt since the beginning of the year. I kind of forgot about him until the rumor came out. I was like, oh, yeah, what happened to that guy?
Well, I do know that he had some complications. He actually had to have a couple of surgeries with that femur repair. It wasn't straightforward for him. So yeah, last I heard, which is maybe 2 months ago, that he had like the 3rd operation. So he's probably still not even actually at a point that he's riding just yet. He's probably back training, but not to the sense that he's on bike. And with the MXGP side of things, he's at least then got a little bit more time because he doesn't probably have to be on it until February or something. So yeah. He's got plenty of recovery time at least.
Yeah, I just closed the results. I had him up, but I was going to say the first race he did in Supercross, I was actually kind of blown away. I don't remember what it was. I think it was like 7th, 8th. It was top 10 either way. I'm pretty sure it was top 10. And that's incredible for a Spaniard coming from EMX, doing some motocross here, and then first time out on a Husqvarna doing that. I was like, wow, top 10, that's something to work with. Like, you've got a future. But unfortunately, it didn't go the way they planned. But I'm certain... You can continue.
You have to think that if he had a bit more time, or that bike malfunction didn't happen and the injury didn't happen, you'd have to think he's getting a podium somewhere in the near future in Supercross. But obviously, you might never find out. He might never be back for one. So it's disappointing on that side of things.
I mean, he's got a history in the EMX 250 championship. I'm certain he'll do incredible in MX2. So something to look forward to. Triumph's got a lot of talent on both sides of the pond, so that's good to see. The next story is not so good. We've had a couple teams close their doors already, and now rumor has it we've got a third one. Let me add it to screen here. SM Action, the Factory Fanic MX2 squad, rumor has it they're closing their doors too. This comes after, I believe it was, they lost their support from Fantic. Let me try to find it here to make sure. Yep, without support from a manufacturer for 2025. So they lost Fanic, and I guess Fanic isn't even doing a MX2 team next year. So it looks like SM Action is out the door too. Man, it's been a sucky year for these teams, man. Lots of teams closing. FNH, Standing Construct, SM Action.
It seems like it's Europeans' time to lose a few teams. It seemed like it was the US a couple of years ago with JGR and Geico and that going away. Now it's Europe's time to sort of lose a few. You wonder whether it's just purely that manufacturer involvement or if there's more to that story that, you know, fell apart. But like Fantic, you know, for the US side of things, they don't even exist over there, and they don't really exist down here either. But you can't really see them being that important to run the team, you know, keep running teams like that. But maybe they are. But yeah, look, anytime you lose teams in our sport, it's not fantastic because we do not have that many rides to begin with.
Yeah. I mean, two solid up-and-coming kids lost a ride for this. Kai Carsomakers, I mean, he didn't really blow the world away, but he's an up-and-comer. And David Braceras. So two young kids losing their ride. I don't know where they're going next year. I don't think I've heard anything about Kai Carsomakers. I did hear something about Braceras. Oh, no, it says right here, Carsmaker secured another ride with Riley Racing Team. So he's going back to Cowie. Okay. But yeah, it's been really sucky lately with all these teams. Obviously, I think around the world, I think it's fair to say around the world, the economies are struggling. Is that fair to say? I mean, I know Australia, United States is really bad right now. The European Union, I'm pretty sure, is really bad too. So it would make sense that's definitely a big factor in all this, but it sucks to see either way. A lot of up-and-coming kids just lose opportunities. You need more teams to pick up more kids so they can show their true talent. And when we lose all these teams like this, especially in one season, it's really sucky to see.
Yeah, well, obviously those bigger teams too, the standing contracts and stuff, those riders are going to get the ride before that Fantic team riders are going to fill into anything decent. So yeah, it's terrible because there's minimum six riders there, maybe a few more that are associated with it in other support areas that now are looking for stuff. So yeah, it's just a terrible thing that goes on in our sport. And yeah, money driven, obviously financial markets and stuff. Our Australian dollar sucks at the moment. So yeah, we're not doing any better than anyone else. So
yeah, how is it over there in Australia? I'm going to bring up some politics. Why not? Because I'm trying to look them up and get it on screen. How is it in Australia? Because America is going just nice, just ducky.
Yeah, look, our dollar sucks to the US dollar at the moment, so I'm not getting any import.
Uh-oh, I lost you.
The Queen over
there we
here,
go.
So that's a massive excitement at the moment. But anyway, we'll move on.
I lost you for a second, but it doesn't matter anyway. I was just trying to buy myself some time. We don't have to drag in world politics or anything. All right. I forgot that I have to, advertise some stuff now and again. That's kind of part of what we do. So I'm going to bring up the latest Motocross Network magazine, issue number 10. We finally got them all. It was about a 4-week delay. Pretty ridiculous. But yeah, here's issue number 10. We've got a bunch of these left. Then we have also a couple other ones from last year. I mean, this one's pretty old. That's on sale if you want to grab one of our magazines. That's a cheaper one. We've even got, if I can find it down here. Look at this old puppy. This is vintage at this point. This is our very first magazine. I found a stack of these in storage. I was like, screw it. Let's throw it up there. If you guys want to see our really crappy origins, I mean, this one is really bad compared to issue number 10. But if you want to see the origins of what we do, you can grab one of these two. That's on sale. The mxnetwork.store. We got a new store as well. I made it a lot easier for you guys. If you're on YouTube, which I'm assuming you are, you can just go right below the video now, and all the magazines are available. Obviously, a lot of these are sold out, but they're up there anyway. We might restock a bunch of these just because. Why not have them on there? But yeah, issue number 5. That was from Max Ansty's first win. I think that was last year. Yeah, last year. I'm losing my mind. But yeah, we got a bunch of them. Head to the MXNetwork.store. We've got a bunch of writers, one of them being David Hogan here. He's one of the great writers we have. And we also have Jordan Barber joining us now alongside me. Yeah, we're working really hard at this. The magazine industry kind of died off. There's really only Racer X at one point, and I was like, let's try to revive this industry. And I think we're making strides. We're making strides, that's for sure. Certainly not perfect, but we're getting somewhere. So yeah, head to the MXNetwork.store and check it out. Grab a copy. Huge thanks to all you who already did. All right, now that ad is done, let's move on. I still got to ship yours. Got to remind me of that. Dude, I completely
forgot to read my own work.
Yeah. All right, next story. If I can load it up here. Cut me some slack, guys. I'm working on it. Trying to. There it is. Again, another older story, but I took a week off or so might as well bring it up. Preston Bose Flug signs with Partzilla PRMX Kawasaki. Now, Preston Bose Flug, he's kind of had, I think that's how you pronounce the name. Bose Flug. I don't know. Close enough. 2024 wasn't that great for him. He was on Suzuki, and it was not that great. I think his best finish was like 29th, and then he got hurt early in the motocross season. It was just overall not a great year for him. And it's kind of just all gone downhill since his debut in 2023. He got 25th, I believe. No, 20th. 20th was his debut in 2023, coming from the amateur ranks into pro, and his best finish this year was 25th. So not that great. How do you feel about Preston Bose Flug? He hasn't really risen to the top yet. Still an up-and-comer. He's got potential, that's for sure. But how do you feel about this?
Look, I think that ride's good for him, considering the fact of, like you're saying, his outdoor results were great. But remember that he was that one that was flipping off the start line at Hangtown in whatever, Moto 1, Moto 2, I can't remember which moto it was, and broke his wrist there. So he had the majority of that start of the season just thrown in the bin, and then has to obviously work back fitness-wise and all that from behind the 8 ball whilst everybody's progressing. So that's probably where the results are shitty, if you like to put it that way. But this ride with PRMX, and I think he's also doing the World Supercross with them, at least for the Canadian round. He's got some good groundings to start with. Like, he's going to have an opportunity to go and race that bike early, sort things out, and then be ready for some Supercross action. So I think he'll be pretty good for that.
Yeah, I remember at Hangtown, I was watching the start from a weird spot, and I just see hay everywhere because they got the hay bales on the edge of the start of Hangtown. And I just see a big puff of hay. I'm like, oh, shoot, someone just ate it hard. And then I saw Preston down. Yeah, I kind of forgot about that one. That was not fun to watch. Not fun. Don't take it the wrong way. The hay was funny. Sorry. But yeah, I think it'll be a fresh start for him. New bike. I think it'll be overall good. I mean, I'm not saying Suzuki is the worst bike. It's not a bad bike. Just there's not much money being injected in that manufacturer right now. So maybe a fresh, modern, newly updated bike would be good for him. I think it's a nice fresh start.
One that will start with the press of a button too.
Yeah. I thought Suzuki was supposed to release that. Ken Roxon and Colt Nichols posted videos with electric start, and they don't have it.
That'll be on the. I think that'll be on the bike at A1. I think it's all in the testing phases at this stage.
Oh, so it's an HEP exclusive. Got it.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to. Oh, what is that? Nope, nothing. We were just talking about wild cards. Preston Bose Flug is one of them, but the defending World Supercross MX2 champion Max Ansty is actually going to be a wild card as well at the Canadian GP. It kind of sucks to see him not defend his championship. But the fact that he switched to Star Yamaha and they even allowed him to do one of them, I mean, that's actually pretty cool to see. They gave him a factory bike to go up there and race one. I mean, I'm not going to complain, but it would have been cool to see him defend his title.
Definitely would have been cool, especially for the fact that he's been out here doing the Australian Supercross for the last couple of years as well and got all those things lined up. But you have to think there was obviously issues with the Star team trying to get bikes, and like from the funding point of view, trying to get bikes over for the nations side of things. You have to think the World Supercross guys stepped up big here in the terms of the dollar column to Star to send that bike up to the Canadian round there.
They say that about Motocross of Nations, but they sent Ansty, they sent Webb, they sent Tomac. Was it really? Like, I really don't believe that anymore. Like, we can't afford it. We got 3 factory bikes over there. Like,
yeah, it is interesting, but you do think that they wouldn't have sent Max for this World Supercross thing, particularly because it is that World Supercross series and it's not necessarily mainstream for the guys to go and do this just yet. You have to think they were pretty well compensated to allow him to do that. It will be massively beneficial for Max, but like that is a full Supercross race that he is going to get on that bike, and like he's been doing for the outdoors, and he did it Nations. He's getting more and more comfortable on that bike, ready for when he needs to be in 2025, West or East Coast, whichever one he ends up racing on.
thank you for watching and or listening to the MotoCast on the Motocross Network. If you want to watch the full episode, head to the Motocross Network on YouTube. I'm assuming you're watching it right now. Go under the video, and there should be a join button. Click join. It's only $3.99 a month, and you get a whole bunch of perks along with this as being a member. You get all post-race interviews. Only members will be able to access post-race interviews from here on out. The Motocross Network travel vlog. We will have vlogs of our ventures, both on the American side and the European side for the MXGP. We'll do a vlog, how it is to travel to these races and be media. We will also be having exclusive interviews with AMA racers and MXGP racers throughout the week, and full episodes of MotoCast. This is all a part of our membership on YouTube, only $3.99 a month. So with your help, you'll be getting us to the races. It's not very cheap to go to every Pro Motocross round, some Supercross rounds, and 5 or 6 MXGP rounds next year. So that's the game plan. But it's going to cost a lot of money. So huge thanks to all you who have become members already. And if you haven't, become a member now, and you can watch the rest of this episode of MotoCast. If not, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.